Hey guys, it's Jennifer Wilson, your guide at Simple Scrapper. Welcome back to the Great Stash Bash. In this video, I'm going to share how I organize my project life supplies. I'll offer some of my best tips, tricks, and organizational strategies for getting those 3x4 and 4x6 pocket page supplies under control. Let's get started. So first off, I want to let the cat out of the bag here and say that my project life cards are not very well organized. They are relatively tidy, but I don't have the perfect organization structure in place yet. That said, I do have a lot of lessons learned. I have things that have worked well, things that have not worked well, and a lot to share with you guys today. I want to start today by talking about core kits. These are those collections of 616 cards coordinated together, and these are kind of the original classic format of the Project Life branded product. And these have so many pros and cons. Some of the collections are so beautiful. This one is Dear Lizzie, Fine and Dandy, and it's one of my favorites. I actually just busted this open. I bought it for a specific purpose, for a specific album that I had not yet started. And I know for sure that I'm definitely keeping this because I love it and it's so beautiful. But the challenge I have is I also have 3 other core kits. I have a Midnight, which has been used a little bit in some of my albums. It's one of the first ones. And then I have these 2 partial core kits. These are 2 from Heidi Swapp, the Favorite Things, and the Dreamy Edition. And these were both shared with a friend, so I have about half a kit each. But I've not really ever used them. Maybe for just a few things here and there. For some reason, it just never fit well for me. I know, for example, when the lines are spaced really far apart on journaling cards, that I struggle with using those. I prefer narrow lines or narrow grid, or no lines at all. But for some reason, I've just never used these very much, and so I do think it's time to part ways. But I do want to take a second here to talk about core kit organization. First off, if obviously your kit is brand new, you're going to want to just keep it in the box until you're ready to start using it. And if you're going to use it for a single project, then I do recommend keeping it in the box. If you're going to use your core kit kind of on an ongoing basis as part of your stash, then I recommend taking it out of these boxes because, as you can see here, I never really dug into it, and I know part of it is because not even just my complaints about design, that it was in the box tucked away. It was separate from the rest of my stash of cards, making it that much harder to reach for it. So I do recommend taking your core kits out of your boxes and putting them in some sort of standing organization, which we'll talk about here in just a second. A few years ago, I put together this system of standing storage for my Project Life cards. All of these come from Studio Calico kits, and when that program started, this system worked really well. First off, I want to tell you that these little containers here, these are actually from the original Project Life mini kits. So, for example, these are one of the larger kit boxes that had these nice magnetic closures. There were mini kits that used to be sold, and they don't make them anymore in that same format. But they came with these little boxes inside, and I've kept them, and they're really nice for standing, obviously Project Life cards standing up. This one you can see has yellowed a little bit, so, you know, maybe it's not a great long, and it seems a little friable now too. I think the plastic is wearing out. But what I really want to talk about is how I've had these organized. I've got my 4x6 cards over here, and then here I have my 3x4 cards with these divider tabs. And so I divided them between filler cards, journal cards, title cards, and then like premium, like fancy cards, like wood cards, or, you know, other types of just fun inserts, you know, die cut or embossed, you know, just any kind of different types of, you know, fancy cards. So this system worked well for a while, And that was because Studio Calico wasn't releasing cards with alternate types of sides. We either had the same design on both sides, but just a different orientation. They did that for a while. And more commonly, they were just purely single-sided with a design on one side and then a grid design on the other. So you could designate what type of card it was very easily. The problem with this system comes when you have cards like this one that are a journal card on one side and then a filler card on the other. And this is really the probably more common design throughout the industry of pocket page designs because you want your customer to have versatility. Either you're going to write something or you're not. But this kind of created a rub in my system of organization for my Project Life cards. And I would say that's probably one reason why I hadn't kind of come up with anything better to date. So even though that system wasn't working well, I do have a clue here of what is working well. And you saw this container in my first video about small embellishments. And this is where I keep a lot of my Ellie Edwards Story Kit supplies. And I've got the journaling cards here in 2 stacks, one for 4x6 and one for 3x4. And I've used up so many of these so far because I love them so much, but also because I think they're quite handy and in this, standing format, obviously, but because they are organized by the manufacturer, by the designer in this case. And I think that is a clue for how I think I need to organize my Project Life supplies going forward, is that I just need to keep things organized by the manufacturer. So I'll have a section for Ellie Edwards, a section for Studio Calico, a section for Citrus Twist, and a section for Project Life branded products. And I think that is really the only way because number one, we can't do filler, title card, journal card organization because of how they treat fronts and backs. It's just not going to work. And I don't ever want you to have to make a decision of which side you like better. That is just too complicated. And we also can't do it by color. For example, that would never work with Ellie Edwards because things tend to be more neutral colored. And the same thing in the fronts and backs. Let's just pick one for example here. Well, this has multiple colors. So what are we going to call this? We're going to call this orange, blue, or green. Unlike other types of supplies where sometimes organizing by color could work well, this is not a case. So I do think that organizing by manufacturer is the best call. And with that, I think comes the caveat that you do need to be let's just say aggressive perhaps in getting rid of cards that you think you're no longer going to use, because even this stack here, it takes a while to go through this to try to find something that you need. And I don't want you to spend your time scrapbooking trying to hunt for that perfect card. And so what that means is that you need to keep your stash minimal. And then when you are scrapping, choose a designer you're going to work from. Say, okay, I need to find a pocket page card or several from this particular section so that you're not combing through the entire stash. So what's next for me is that I'm going to be looking for a new storage solution. Now that I know the direction that I want to go, I know that I need a container that's going to fit all of the cards that I want to keep. As I mentioned, I'm getting rid of some of my core kits and letting those go. I might let go of some of these cards just because I'm not using as many of the rounded corner cards anymore. I'm using mostly square corners because I do prefer that style. But I'm going to be looking for something sturdy, some sort of wood-based solution that can perfectly fit these standing up. Even this container is not perfect for it because this particular shelf here is quite shallow, and so I can't put the cards on the top shelf. But I'll be looking for something similar. I'm going to retire this particular plastic container because this one is falling apart here. But I do know that it's time to get them organized and to do it by manufacturer. So the last thing I want to do is to share 2 ways that you can create these divider tabs if you are going to organize your Project Life cards and then have sections within those. So this one was created using this tab punch. This is actually quite a beast of a punch. And I found that this one didn't cut super clean, but hopefully they've improved the design since I purchased this a number of years ago. but has created this double-sided, fold over sturdy tab that I then stapled on, and that has held up really, really well. The better and perhaps, easier option here is to use these Avery index tabs. You know that Allie Edwards loves these, and this is a simple solution to add to just a blank card, and then you can add a little strip in there that says the label that you want to have. Your challenge is to take the first step towards a new organizational solution for your Pocket Page supplies.
Before you go, make sure to enter our giveaway for a seat in Refresh. Refresh is our 7-day online scrapbooking retreat designed to help you start fresh in memory keeping each and every season. The next session is coming up in April. To win a seat, simply leave a comment on this video sharing your progress in using up, decluttering, or organizing your stash of scrapbook supplies. You may optionally include a link to a blog post, Instagram post, or YouTube video where you're sharing this progress with others. You must be registered for the Great Stash Bash to be eligible. Please check the description box for the registration link and the deadline to enter the giveaway.